Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to Martyn Lucas Investor. Lucid earnings misses again on earnings. No real surprise there that they've missed on earnings, to be perfectly honest. We were expecting that, so we are watching in and looking at the Lucid earnings now, and we shall be back with it very, very shortly. But yeah, no surprise. They missed. They're losing money. They can't sell their cars. It's not a surprise to anybody that's an investor. The gamblers, of course, just want it to keep going up. Are you buying it now? I'm not. It's still not. It's still not the right price for me. It's only worth $6. So I'm not. This is not good news. It might pop up, of course, on this, but ultimately the company are getting worse and worse earnings every quarter. And with inflation going up, still going up, even though we have possibly reached a point where we're going to peak on rate hikes, it's going to be held for a long time. So Lucid is not necessarily in a great position. So we'll be back very, very shortly for the Lucid earnings. Don't go away. See you back very, very shortly. Between now and then, buckle up, get ready for Lucid earnings. See you back in a few minutes. Don't go away. If you've just tuned in to earnings for Lucid, we'll be right back with you. The earnings is coming up in just under an hour, and we can see how much the stock was sold off. It's no surprise they've missed on earnings. It's the worst earnings again. And I've been saying for the longest time that the stock is only worth $6. I don't see any point buying it here. I'm sure some people will get very enthusiastic and buy it and pump it up. But for me, that doesn't make any sense. That's not an investment. That's just gambling. So I wish everybody the best. See you back in a few minutes' time for the earnings. Bring your comments on the screen. If you comment on the screen, I will share your thoughts. Who's with me in the live chat now? If you just go hi in the chat, I will put your messages on the screen and we'll have a conversation before the event starts. So if you leave a comment, I will put you on the screen just like this. There you go. And you'll appear there as you leave your thoughts and comments. I will share everyone's opinions and views. Don't go away. See you back in a few minutes. If you've just tuned in, welcome, good afternoon to you. The Lucid earnings coming up very shortly. Leave me your comments on the screen, I will share them, and as you can see, they missed on earnings tonight quite considerably. I don't see this as a good investment right now. I don't really care if it goes to 6 at this point. I see better opportunities in the market. What do you think? Leave me your thoughts. We're very interested to hear what they have to say. It's more important what they have to say going forward than what we already knew, that they were losing money. This is no surprise. See you back in a few minutes' time. Just got a comment here from 0351 who said, yes, Lucid puts will print. PLTR is printing, and yes, no point being in Lucid, much better positions to be in. So are earnings out yet? Yes, they missed on earnings quite considerably. Let me share with you I will share with you now what the earnings are. A normal guy's perspective has asked the question. Yes, Lucid were expecting to do 41 cents a share loss, and it was 43 cents a share loss. It's their worst quarter since Q1 22 a year ago. They're losing money all the time, and it's getting worse. So no surprise there. We all knew that. Anyone who reads the balance sheet knew that. It's what is said going forward. But this is not a surprise. At least Lucid on paper is only worth $6. I'm afraid a lot of people will invest or gamble with certain technology companies because it's sexy, it's rock and roll. They say it's a great car. It is. No one's going to doubt it's a great car. However, in the climate that we're in, their financial situation, the rate hike situation, going to be held up now for a long time. We're not going to see any rate cuts. I don't think for a year. These cars are unaffordable. They're not receiving the benefits like a Mullen and Tesla are. The tax benefits, rebates that is. So they're unaffordable, and the company can't even sell the used cars. So it's like a concept car now. It's kind of become a concept car. And ultimately, I think if you look at the balance sheet, it's pretty clear that the company could go bankrupt. It's quite clear. They will run out of money because they are losing money on every car they sell, and they can't sell the cars they have, and they can't sell the cars that are on the lot. The used cars. I would love for them to do well, but I'm an investor, not a gambler, and I just want to make money. And there we go. If we look at it again, Lucid is falling again. It's not cheap until it hits $2. Then you could consider it's cheap. However, what is cheap? What is cheap? When a company loses money and doesn't make any money, it's not worth anything, is it? So anyway, be back with you very, very shortly when the earnings begins. It's not started yet. We've got the countdown clock. Leave your comments on the screen. We'll share them on the screen with you. Did you listen to the last earnings call? Yes, I hear every earnings call. I'm here every single time. The management already stated that Q1 will be bad in the last earnings call. They did. but it's worse, and it's not really. It's not. We have to remember. You make a good point that it's not the company who state these earnings. It's the analysts, and the analysts are very biased. And you're absolutely true. They did say that Q1 would be bad. However, it's worse than bad. At the end of the day, the figures don't lie. It tells you not to invest right now. However, you might say, well, I'll buy it when it's cheap, but it's not cheap. When a company loses money consistently, nothing is cheap. You could end up with some bad debt. So anyway, we'll be back very shortly. We'll listen in to what they have to say. Don't go far away. See you back in a minute. Top Rat makes a comment, looking in the past, it was once $60 a share. Never look backwards. It's interesting from a point of view of conversation, but it actually means nothing. Remember, the stock price isn't even the value of the company. It's just the stock price. The stock price is the price that the stock is being traded at that particular point in time. A stock worth nothing can go up to $100 a share and it produce absolutely nothing. It doesn't mean anything at all. It just means it was pumped. People promoted it with false information on social media, and up it went. Just because the stock was once $60 does not mean it'll ever be $60 again. It has nothing to do with the value of the company, just the value of the stock. Now, you could argue the same thing now, that the price has gone down, the company is worth far more. What you're valuing the company on now is hopes and dreams that the car is a great car, which it undoubtedly is, but it's not about who can produce a great car. This isn't a fan club or a competition. It's about making money and running a business. And the company are not running a good business right now. They're not selling the cars that they've already got. People that have bought the used cars can't sell them because nobody wants to pay the price. They're overpriced. It doesn't matter how good the car is, it doesn't make sense to the general customer. You'd rather be a McDonald's and everybody can afford your product, hence why McDonald's is where McDonald's is. Anyway, it's a great car. It's just not a great company, so it doesn't make any sense for me to invest in it. I've made money from it because a lot of people get very passionate about this stock. They send me all kinds of ridiculous messages on YouTube, very angry people, saying silly things all of the time. None of that is relevant. None of what somebody rants on YouTube at me is important at all. When I first started on YouTube, it used to hurt. I used to get upset by people calling me an idiot and people saying all kinds of stuff. Now I just smile and go, I'm an investor. I'm a businessman. I'm here to grow the most honest, real channel on YouTube, and I'm here to make money. And if you want to rant and rave, there's no place for that in investing. There's just good, sound financial investing, not gambling or guessing or ranting or raving or making loads of noise. None of that stuff's important. And I can't be influenced to promote the stock and tell everybody it's going to go up just because a load of Redditors want me to. Remember, the very people that want me to promote this stock and tell you it's going up to $1 million and all the rest of it are the very same people, as soon as it goes up and makes any amount of profit, they'll dump it on you. It's like a band of thieves. Everybody wants to promote it up until they want to get out and dump it on you. Well, I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in talking about a stock that can go up, that will make everybody money because it's worth it, not it's just being pumped and then dropped. Because my whole channel is based upon honesty, decency, and credibility. And people don't come here for me just to talk a load of rubbish, for a few empty-headed gamblers to try to fuel their egos. That's not what we're here to do. We're here to spread news, information, and support each other, and along the way make some money. Anyway, I'll be back in a few minutes time. Good luck, everyone. If it pops up, it's just being pumped on Reddit and stuff like that. And if it goes up, it'll be dropped again. So be very, very careful. On paper, just maths, just numbers. It makes no sense now. It doesn't even make sense to $2, to be perfectly honest. Until it starts making money, it's not investable in my book right now. Okay, see you back in a few minutes time. Shan makes a comment. The comment is they're doing better than Rivian. They might well be. I'm not going to get into the ins and the outs. Comparing balance sheets with Rivian and Lucid. It's not about who's doing the best. It's is Lucid an investment? And you make the point that you've seen 15 Lucid cars driving around. I remember back in the 80s seeing the Sinclair C5, first electric car being driven around. It went bust. It doesn't really matter to me how many people are driving the cars around. If the cars don't make money, if the business doesn't make sense, it's uninvestable. Let's read the next comment. I guess we can wait to see what they say. What they say is more important than the figures. We all knew. Anybody who reads the balance sheet, anyone who studies the stock rather than just guesses on YouTube, knew that the stock was going down, knew that they were losing money. None of that is a secret. It's a publicly traded company. The information is public. It's not a secret. No surprise. What is, however, secret to a certain degree at the moment is what the CEO has to say about the future of the company. And from experience, having done 2 years now of earnings for Lucid, he's not that good at encouraging the investors to buy in. His reviews tend to be quite staid, actually, unenthusiastic, and he repeats himself the same thing every time. I don't know if it's going to wash this time. I don't know if it's going to continue to sink and people take their money and run and put it in Tesla. I wouldn't be surprised, or even into Mullen right now, which has the incentive for the tax incentive, which Lucid doesn't have because of the cost and other qualifications of the way the car is built. Anyway, let's have a little look. Facts: Tesla is overpriced. Tesla is overpriced. Tesla is overpriced. On paper, Tesla is worth $60. No question about it. That doesn't mean to say it doesn't trade higher, but on paper it's worth $60, and I'm always trying to drive my average down. You're absolutely right. However, Tesla makes money. It's not about how many cars they've got. Tesla actually makes money. And Tesla is more than a car company. It has many other revenue streams on top of the car company. Let me just finish reading your comment, and we'll correct in price. So why would industry EV leader Tesla decrease in price and Lucid increase in price while generating less revenue? That's a very good point, Ace. I see your point. There must be an increase in EV demand for EV companies to be profitable. Otherwise, they should decline in stock price. Well, where I see it working very well for Tesla is that they can actually make the cars and make no money on them at all, and make money on the insurance, the solar, the batteries, did I say the insurance? Yes, the self-driving, robo-taxis, all of that. Well, none of that is available to Lucid at all. Anyway, there we go. I tried to answer all your questions. If you are new here, please do always smash the like button. But if you are new here, please consider subscribing. And I'll see you back in a few minutes' time for the earnings. I want to welcome our guests over there on Rumble. If you're a fan of the show and you'd like to support me, I'm trying to get to 100 followers on Rumble. It would be really nice of you if you wouldn't mind following me. Here is the link. You've got a bit of time right now. Help me get to 100. I only started it a week ago. I'm at 66 followers. I'd love if you could follow me on on Rumble and get me to 100. I'd really appreciate it. If you want to be part of our Twitter account, it's where I post things before and after the show, and we run polls and all kinds of things. Here is my Twitter account. It's below the video and in the description, but I'll give it to you in the chat. You've got a bit of time. Lucid's now 692. It's continually going down. There's no surprise there. There is my Twitter. Now, over the weekend, I did lots of music for the coronation, and I've had some viral videos on my channel. You might be interested to follow my music. Here is my music channel as well. I've got videos with me with Paul McCartney, Elton John, all kinds of things you might want to check out. Anyway, there is my music channel as well. Well, you've got time. Okay, see you back in a few minutes. Another comment here. Let's have a little look. Shan said, it's a new business and interest rates at all-time high. All car makers are having a tough time. Correct. They are. And even Tesla with price cuts are having a hard time selling their cars. Correct. You're absolutely right. That's fair, but not anywhere near like Lucid cars. Not anywhere, not even close. And I've checked the used car sales of Tesla cars are moving. Used car sales of Lucid are not moving. They're just stuck. No one's buying them. Lucid is in the beginning stage. Tesla almost went bankrupt. They did. That's very true. And they are doing fine now. And don't forget the Saudis own 65% of Lucid. I often get that mentioned to me. Why is that good? Why is that good? I often get someone say to me, the Saudis own 65% of Lucid, like it's a banner of achievement. Doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean anything. I mean, you know, the boys from Cornwall own 60% of Lucid. So what? They're investors like anyone else. It doesn't really mean anything. So I'm not so sure why that's of interest. But I understand what you're saying, but people often use that as some sort of banner, like it's an achievement. I don't really know what that means. Anyway, I'll see you back in a few minutes. I am going to go this time. See you back in a minute. Not long to go now before Lucid earnings. Stick with us. Leave your comments on the screen, and love your thoughts. Now, we are here tomorrow night we are back in the morning for the opening bell. We are also here for the Virgin Galactic earnings tomorrow night. We are running a Twitter poll right now on my account. What you think Virgin Galactic might be. And well, here is my Twitter account. It's at Martyn Investor. It's in the chat for you. If you go and have a look there, we are running. We're asking the question about Lucid. We're also asking the question about Mullen as well. You might like to share your views on those subjects: Mullen, Lucid, and Virgin Galactic poll running on our channel right now. We're also giving away our biggest ever giveaway. We're giving away $125 in cash and 15 hours of one-on-one training with Ed Nevius. If you want that, it's completely free. It's worth way over $1,000. There's the giveaway. It's free to enter, free for all, $125 in cash. And all you got to do is go to the giveaway page and you'll see what you got to do. It's free to enter, free for all. And we're also giving you 15 hours of one-on-one training with an investor that's paid to learn the course, and he will teach you all about candles and charts. If you don't want it, you can donate it to somebody else as well. But anyway, good luck. There's the link in the chat. See you back in a few minutes. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to Martyn Lucas Investor. Just a few minutes to go now before the earnings. Sit back and relax. We are ready and waiting for the earnings, and it's not looking good at the moment for Lucid. They're burning through too much cash, and it can't go on much longer. The company could declare bankruptcy in this current climate. Doesn't matter how good they are. How good the car is, they're not a great business right now. Anyway, let me just read some of the comments quickly. I'm on a quick break right now. Let's have a look. Chinese EV company are more affordable EVs, which is why Tesla is decreasing price. That is not why Tesla are decreasing price. However, PPL aren't buying cars, and if they do, majority customers will still buy new EVs. CarMax is even suffering in sales. Yeah, the used car sales for Lucid are not happening. Tesla don't have that problem. Lucid cash burn is crazy now, guys. Moonshot. Indeed, Lucid can be a better car than Tesla, but not a better company. We all agree on that 100%. Ace, good point. And think about the disposable batteries in Jersey. They are banning disposal. I'm not interested in the recycling end of that, Ed Nevius said. Tesla has achieved some level of adoption, but it still needs more progress. Most people only see Tesla on the road and other EVs aren't on the road, which shows lack of adoption and sales. Tesla is the #1 selling car in Europe. To say and that beats all other cars combined. To say Tesla hasn't sold that many cars isn't very accurate, I'm afraid, Ace. Like for like, is Lucid better car than Tesla? Lucid is a better car than Tesla, but Lucid doesn't have the self-drive the same way as Tesla does. And also Tesla is about the robo-taxis and many other revenue streams as well. Build quality and so on. The build quality with Tesla was bad at the beginning, but it's not an issue anymore. I've got lots of friends who have Tesla. I have no issue with it whatsoever. Okay, amazing Tuga, 65%, it means follow the whales. IPF from Saudi has giga projects in the future. They won't let it go bankrupt and lose 65% of their investment for sure. I'm a long-term holder, by the way, so no worries. I don't know what this fascination is with the Saudi investment. I really don't know why everyone is so excited because a bunch of Saudi guys have invested in it. Doesn't guarantee its future at all. I don't understand why everyone's so fascinated by that. The numbers are the numbers. Just look at the balance sheet. Hi from New Zealand, Martin. Nice to have you here from Moonshot. Okay, I meant other EV companies lack sales and adoption. Thank you, Ace. I appreciate now what you're saying. I wondered what you meant. Okay, we've got just 18 minutes to go. If you are new here, we're over on Rumble right now as well. Should you wish to help me out, I'm trying to get to 100 followers on Rumble. We just started last week. We're at 66. There's Rumble right now. Have a little look. I'm also the World Piano Man. Over the last few days, I was heavily involved with the coronation. I had several videos go viral with my Elton John, my Andre Pacelli, my 11-hour concert. If you want to check out my music channel, I've got videos here with me with Elton John. All kinds of stuff you might be interested in as the World Piano Man. And tomorrow night, after Virgin Galactic earnings, we are doing a music concert, rocket style theme. I'll be doing Rocket Man, my own Virgin Galactic song, and others tomorrow night as well in the show. If you want to talk offline and you want to vote in we've got a poll going on Virgin Galactic, Lucid, and also Mullen right now over there on my Twitter account. You can take part in that. So let me give you the Twitter account as well if you want to be part of when I talk about Lucid and other stocks you may be interested in. There is the Twitter account on the screen for you there right now. Okay, Saudi were in Aston Martin, Newark and Credit Suisse. They are all bankrupt penny stocks now. There you go, Saudi. I mean, I don't know what the excitement with, hey, the Saudis in it, who cares? The Saudis showed up recently in a surprise visit in plants, intentions not known, possible talks about going private. That could happen. that could happen, and that won't necessarily benefit you as a small-time shareholder either. So don't get too excited by that proposition. That's what's effectively happening with Virgin Orbit. That's been delisted, and it will come back under a different ticker, and it probably won't be a public company anymore. Now then, we've got 36 watching us live on YouTube, only 14 likes. If you could smash the like button, it really helps our channel. Please do smash the like. It helps just by simply liking the video, helps us share to more people. And we are giving away our biggest ever giveaway. It's our biggest ever giveaway. We're giving away $125 in cash and 15 hours of one-on-one training. Here is our best ever giveaway. It's free to enter, free for all. Anyone can take part. You can win with one ticket, or you can get as many tickets as you like. 42 people have currently taken part, so it's a good chance you're going to win. There is the information. See you back in a few minutes' time. Don't go away. Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome. We've got the Lucid earnings, just a few moments to go now. So we're getting ready. We're starting to get it pick up the bottom. It's inviting you to buy it in. Are you buying in off the bottom now? I'm not. I see better investments available. It looks cheap, but at the end of the day, what is cheap? What is cheap? It doesn't mean anything. It's just a price, but you do your calculations, work out what the company are making, and it doesn't make any sense at this price. However, you might decide to buy some. Let's have a little look. Let's see what they say. Okay, let's get ready for the earnings with just a few moments to go now, and let's just have a quick look at the overall markets. Let's see where we are before we start. Here we are. Here is the overall portfolio today. I'm up 0.5, consistently up every day on my portfolio. That's what it's all about. Making money on the week, making money on the month. On the 3 month was slightly down year to date. We're making money consistently, which is what it's all about, really. It's not about fantasy and dreams and all the rest of it. It's just good, solid investing. That's what we're here for. Mullen, we're also covering Mullen. Virgin Galactic's continue to rise. We're covering the earnings for Mullen tomorrow night as well. So that'll be interesting. And but right now we are all about Lucid. Starting to come up a little bit. We've got just a few minutes to go. That clock is a little bit ahead of ourselves. We've got another, where are we now? 6 minutes from now. So that clock is just going to end the build-up, and then we'll be ready for Lucid, okay? So we've got another 6 minutes to go. It's on the half hour. Let's read some of the comments on the screen. Let's see what we've got here. Back in the day when Steve sold Mirage to Circus, there were a split, and at the moment the shares spiked, then he bought the new casino, one of my idols, said Ed Nevius. Saudis, 0351 Kinch. Saudis are salty over their fact that they did not take Tesla private. Saudis are also in a deficit right now. Unlike funding Lucid more money after decreasing performance. Steve Wynn, his story is amazing. Ed Nevius, his idol was Walt Disney. There we go. Sorry, I just like stuff like that. That's absolutely fine. Ed Nevius donated our amazing competition as well. This Friday, $125 we're giving away. Let's end the clock right now. We don't need that. We're 5 minutes to go before it begins. Let's get back over to the earnings. There it is. We got it on the screen. We got the chart and the price. We'll be listening in to tonight's earnings. If you're in the chat, let me know you're here. Smash the like button. It always helps our channel. Subscribe, ring the bell. We go live up to 10 hours a day, and our aim is to be the most honest, real channel on YouTube. That is our aim. We're not here to pump or promote. We're here just to spread the news and share our real trade. This is my real money. Everything I've got is totally real. If you look at my position here, this is all of my money. This is my Roth IRA. And this is all the money I have in the world. I have no more money anywhere else. It's all here on view. The cash I have in the bank is literally the cash in Robinhood, earning 4.65%. It's all on view here in front of you, okay? That's what our channel is all about. All right. Tomorrow night we'll be covering, after we've done the opening and closing bell, we'll be covering Virgin Galactic's earnings. Right, we've got 3.5 minutes to go before the earnings begins. We're watching in Lucid. It's all about what they say. This is what it's all about tonight. And I'm listening into the audio. Yep, they're still playing their little guitar music they always play. It should be interesting to see what happens tonight. After hours, McDonald's is up. Coca-Cola is up slightly. J&J is up 0.18, one of my biggest positions. Google is up 0.3. Microsoft is down today, very slightly. Next Era Energy is up today, but down very slightly in the after hours. Bitcoin is down 2.32. We called the top at 28 to 30,000. We expect it to go down to 15,000 any time. So that's our position. My average is 15,000 on Bitcoin, so I'm happy about that. Meta, we bought this and I sold it at a decent profit. I said it was the best stock on the market at the time. I stand by that. So we're just a couple of moments to go now. In fact, 2.5 minutes to go for the Lucid earnings. Everybody on YouTube, we're having a bit of competition tonight between YouTube and Rumble. There are 36 watching on YouTube, and on Rumble right now we have. Let's have a quick look. We have on Rumble right now 7. We've only been on Rumble for a couple of weeks. We're up to 66 followers. If you want to join our journey, become part of the family, we're trying to get to 100 followers on Rumble in the first month. That way we can unlock some extra features. That would be great. Okay, here we go. 2 minutes to go before the earnings begins. Time for some water. Okay, now if you are watching me on a big screen, I actually broadcast in Super HD, Ultra HD. Later on, this will be out in 4K as well. We go out to a TV audience. That's what we try to aim for. That is the future of YouTube, and that's why I built this studio. The way it looks, the reason it looks like this is because we are trying to build a TV-style studio. Okay. 1 minute and 15 seconds to go. Hi everyone, says Stephen Lewandowski. How are you? Great to have you here, mate. Not that long to go now. We're waiting. We're ready to rock and roll. Just under a minute to go now. If I remember right, the owner from Interstate Batteries said it not was lies dimly in the future, but what lies clearly at hand. Oh, I like that one. That's very good. Okay, here we go. We are just a few seconds to go now. So we are listening in. Let me start playing the audio through. You won't hear this. You won't hear it. I will just mute it. Otherwise, we'll have it coming through and get copyright flags and God knows what else. So I am having it running in the background. When is the Galactic earnings? Tomorrow night. Join us for that. We are producing the Virgin Galactic earnings tomorrow night. It's on the homepage of my YouTube channel. Here it is. I will give you the link right now. There you go. It's tomorrow night. We are covering it. There's the link. I'll give it a couple of times so you can see it. There you go. That's tomorrow night. So join us for that. Okay. Lucid earnings. Just seconds away now. As soon as it begins, I will bring it to you. They are 30 seconds late. I don't know why people can't be on time. It always surprises me. But there you go. Here we go.
Hello, and thank you for standing by, and welcome to Lucid Group's first quarter 23 earnings conference call. At this time, all participants are on a listen-only mode. After the speaker's presentation, there will be a question and answer session. To ask the question during this time, you will need to press star 11 on your telephone. You will then hear an automated message advising your hand is raised. To withdraw your question, please press star 11 again. I would now like to hand the conference to Maynard. You may begin.
Thank you, and welcome to Lucid Group's first quarter 2023 earnings call. Joining me today are Peter Rawlinson, our CEO and CTO, and Sherry House, our CFO. Before handing the call over to Peter, let me remind you that some of the statements on this call include forward-looking statements under federal securities law. These include, without limitation, statements regarding the future financial performance of the company, production and delivery volumes, financial and operating outlook and guidance, macroeconomic and industry trends, company initiatives, and other future events. These statements are based on predictions and expectations as of today, and actual events or results may differ due to a number of risks and uncertainties. We refer you to the cautionary language and the risk factors in our most recent filings with the SEC and the forward-looking statements on page 2 of our investor deck, available on the investor relations section of our website at ir.lucidmotors.com. In addition, management will make reference to non-GAAP financial measures during this call. A discussion of why we use non-GAAP financial measures and information regarding reconciliation of our GAAP versus non-GAAP results is available in our earnings press release issued earlier this afternoon, as well as in the investor deck. With that, I'd like to turn the call over to Lucid's CEO and CTO, Peter Rawlinson. Peter, please go ahead.
Thank you, Maynard, and thank you everyone for joining us for our first quarter earnings call. In quarter one, we produced 2,314 vehicles and delivered 1,406. Now, Sherry will go into more detail on our financials, but I would like to first thank all our employees. We have the best EV on the market and really, I believe, the best car on the market. And it would not have been possible without the collective efforts of our entire team, which is a direct result of tremendous perseverance, resourcefulness, and teamwork. I want to express my deep personal gratitude to everyone who has contributed to and the teams that will help advance our mission going forward. I'm very excited about our future and the opportunities that lie ahead of us. We have the best EV on the market and really, I believe, the best car on the market. And it would not have been possible without the collective efforts of the entire team. I would like to welcome 3 new members of the board, Sherry Marakby, Shabi Nouri, and Ori Winitzer. Together, they bring significant global experience in the areas of marketing, finance and operations across automotive, technology, and luxury consumer goods. Now, these additions are a reflection of the company's evolution as we mature to the growth and brand awareness stage of our life cycle. I'd also like to congratulate Turki Alnawizer on his appointment as Lucid's chairman of the board, and also thank Andrew Liveris for his guidance during his service as chairman. And also a heartfelt thank you to our outgoing board members, Nancy Joyer, Tony Posavats, and Frank Lindenberg, for their significant contributions and their dedication to Lucid's mission. Now, last quarter, I laid out 2 key significant strategic priorities for the company. Number 1, growth and brand awareness. And number 2, a laser focus upon cost. We have taken immediate action on both. We made the decision to adjust our workforce in Q1, given evolving business needs, productivity improvements, and broader economic uncertainty, which we, like many others, are not immune from. Whilst we believe this positions us to be more agile and puts us in the best position for success moving forward, it was nonetheless a difficult decision. Sherry will speak to our cost focus in greater depth. So let me provide an update on our growth and brand awareness progress. Now, we continue to make strides in growing our brand awareness, and I'm proud to say that Lucid Air was recently awarded a number of prestigious industry accolades, adding to our existing portfolio of awards, such as the 2022 Motor Trend Car of the Year. At the 2023 New York International Auto Show, Lucid Air was crowned the 2023 World Luxury Car. Lucid Air was also named to be the US News and World Report 2023 Best Hybrid and Electric Cars lists for Best Luxury Electric Car. Now, these awards reinforce our belief that the Lucid Air is not just the best EV in the world, but the best car available in the world today. The Lucid Air set a new industry benchmark for range and two versions that were the first EVs to achieve an EPA estimated range over 500 miles. And we set these new standards thanks in part to our groundbreaking in-house developed technology, which continues to garner significant industry attention. In fact, Lucid recently received the 2023 Newsweek Powertrain Disruptor of the Year award. I cannot underscore enough how advanced our technology is, making it the best in the world on many metrics. I believe that we are years ahead of our next closest competitor, who, in turn, we believe is several years ahead of their next closest competitor. I believe that as more companies come to the realization that developing world-class powertrains is not as easy as we make it look, then we will continue to grow more interest in our patented hardware and software technology from other OEMs. And, in fact, we continue to see interest from multiple parties. As I've said in the past, whilst this is not an area where we've put a tremendous amount of proactive attention, I'm pleased with the growing levels of interest and progress that we're receiving with these OEMs. So our technology and know-how is what enables us to have game-changing range, supercar levels of performance, super fast charging, a luxurious and spacious interior, and exceptional aerodynamics. But I also want to stress that the best technology does not mean most complex nor most expensive. In fact, it's quite the opposite. I believe that our vehicles are fundamentally easier to manufacture in many ways than our competitors, and this is done through brilliant in-house engineering, a design for manufacture, and very high degrees of innovation. And we're not resting on our laurels. We're using advanced technology to drive down the costs for EVs. We're moving towards more efficient EVs in order to decrease the battery pack sizes, which will enable lower cost vehicles. And we have much more to come with an exceptional technology roadmap and further enhancements and innovations, pushing the envelope on what's possible, including for our mid-size platform. Now, looking more near-term, Sapphire is on track for start of production later this summer in mid-September. The Lucid Air Sapphire will feature 3 motors, carbon ceramic brakes, an aerodynamic package, new sports seats, and track-tuned suspension for a sublime driver-focused sporting experience. It's expected to boast a sub-2 seconds 0 to 60 miles an hour and a sub-4 seconds 0 to 100 miles an hour, with a sub-9 seconds quarter mile and a top speed exceeding 200 miles an hour. I've been test driving Sapphire very recently, and I'm finding it extremely satisfactory in terms of its performance. I'm also excited to announce that the Gravity SUV entered a new phase of development, with road testing having started a couple of weeks ago. Just as the Lucid Air redefined the sedan category, I believe that the Gravity SUV is positioned to do exactly the same for its corresponding SUV category. Indeed, we're taking all the best elements of Air and putting them into an SUV. Game-changing range and efficiency, amazing interior space, fast charging performance, and luxury. Just last week, I was out in a Gravity on a test drive, and I'm delighted with the progress that has been made. Make no mistake, the Gravity SUV will be a true landmark. And we can't wait for you to experience the Gravity SUV at an unveil later this year, at which time you'll be able to place a reservation. We think you're going to absolutely love it. Now, in software, we continue to make big strides. We had 5 over-the-air updates in Q1, with a number of features that customers have been requesting, including CarPlay and scheduled charging. And indeed, we're working on many more exciting updates. We're listening intently to what our customers want, while simultaneously providing more in-house design features to provide our customers with whatever best-in-class experience they prefer. Now, what's more important is to emphasize that we've designed our cars to be over-the-air updatable from the very start. And I believe that there are very few that have the over-the-air capability to the same degree. It's a platform on which we can do so much more. On our last earnings call in February, I spoke about customer awareness of the Lucid brand. We see brand growth happening in stages, starting with the innovators, then early adopters, and moving to early majority and beyond. We believe we are still early on in our customer growth stage of innovators and early adopters. And as we achieve a tipping point in brand visibility, once enough cars are on the road, we will believe we will see a higher velocity of growth. And we've continued to take serious action and a holistic, data-driven approach to our marketing programs focused on qualified awareness, digital conversion, test drive experiences, and conversion to orders and deliveries. And we're seeing some early wins. The number of test drives has nearly doubled in the first quarter from the fourth quarter of last year. I believe that seeing is believing, and once you experience the handling, the quality, the performance, and the interior space of Lucid Air for yourself, you'll understand the award-winning nature of our vehicles. We see test drives as the key stepping stone for customers considering the purchase of a Lucid Air. We launched our Dream Ahead tour last month, which is designed to showcase the Lucid Air's game-changing electric vehicle performance and technology. Consumers will have the opportunity to experience and drive our 3 Lucid Air models, the Lucid Air Pure, the Lucid Air Touring, and Grand Touring. And they'll do that in 42 key cities right across the USA. Now, in fact, the White House promoted our Dream Ahead tour as part of President Biden's EV acceleration challenge, highlighting actions to encourage EV deployment. I'm also delighted to announce that Andrea Soriani recently joined Lucid as our new head of marketing. Now, Andrea brings over 25 years of experience in luxury brands and automotive, having worked at companies such as Maserati, Ferrari, and Tag Heuer. And we certainly expect the Lucid Air Sapphire and the Gravity SUV to further elevate awareness of the Lucid brand. There are many more grassroots efforts underway, capitalizing upon our incredibly passionate customers who are also our biggest advocates. Now, there's a misconception out there that Lucid Air's starting price is far higher than it actually is. Many people out there really believe that the Lucid Air is a $200,000 car, when the fact is that the starting price for a Lucid Air Pure is $87,400, which we believe is a truly compelling offering in the marketplace today. And we're working on ways to achieve broader access. We started deliveries of the Lucid Airs with stealth appearance last month, and will deliver more Lucid Air Dream and Grand Tourings this quarter to customers in the EU and in Saudi Arabia. We've resolved some of the gating items and will continue to focus on ramping up production of the stealth appearance and components for international shipments in the second quarter. We expect the Lucid Air Pure volumes in the back half to also ramp with the start of the Lucid Air Pure rear-wheel drive in North America. We're on track to produce over 10,000 vehicles in 2023, with company-wide initiatives ongoing that will enable higher volumes as market conditions allow, and Sherry will go through guidance in greater detail. So in closing, We recognize that we have more work to do, but we're making progress with our strategic priorities, and the team is totally energized. Our mission and our optimism are unchanged. We're committed to a more innovative and environmentally sustainable future, designing, building, and delivering the best EVs on the market as we expand globally and develop more exceptional vehicles such as the Gravity SUV, which we plan to launch in 2024. I am confident that we have the most advanced technology, we have the right operational infrastructure, and the know-how to deliver. And we have a track record of tenacity that will make us stronger. And so with that, let me turn over to Sherry for an update on our financials. Sherry.
Thank you, Peter. And thank you to those who are taking the time to join us today. I'd like to begin by calling out a few recent highlights. Last month, we announced that Lucid joined the United Nations Global Compact, the world's largest corporate initiative advancing sustainable and socially responsible business practices. Sustainability is an integral part of what we do every day. It's our mission, and we view this as a natural progression in our sustainability journey as a company. Last month, we also signed the first annual agreement with the Human Resources Development Fund, or HRDF, in Saudi Arabia. This agreement operationalizes the Memorandum of Understanding signed with the HRDF in October 2022 and will facilitate Lucid training programs and will fund skills development and salaries for Saudi nationals who work within our organizations within Saudi Arabia. The Public Investment Fund has connected us to many of the ministries throughout Saudi Arabia, and this HRDF agreement is another example of how those relationships and partnerships have resulted in significant economic and administrative support as we launch our international operations in the Middle East. The PIF has been a committed investor and a strategic partner for many years, and we're very grateful for their partnership and support. I'd also on the SEC investigation that was previously disclosed on December 6, 2021. On April 27, 2023, SEC staff informed Lucid that the SEC concluded their investigation related to the business combination between Churchill Capital Corporation IV, which was Lucid's legal predecessor, and Ativa Inc. in certain projections and statements. I'm pleased to inform you that they do not intend to recommend an enforcement action by the SEC against the company, which we view as a very positive outcome. We consider this matter closed. I also want to talk about the Form S-3 and Form S-8 that you may have seen filed today after market close. We amended the existing S-3 with the filing of a new S-3. As you'll recall, we consummated a private placement of common stock to IAR for aggregate proceeds of $915 million in December 2022. In connection with this private placement, we agreed to register the shares with the SEC. The Form S-3 is intended to register these shares by amending the existing Form S-3 that we filed in August 2022. This action was to fulfill our contractual obligations regarding registration rights and is not a new issuance. We also filed a Form S-8. As a reminder, the Form S-8 is primarily to register the additional shares made available under the company's second amended and restated 2021 stock incentive plan, which was approved by the stockholders at the 2023 annual meeting on April 24th. Moving to the business. As Peter mentioned, in Q1, we made the very difficult decision to streamline our workforce to better position the company for the future. We took a $22.5 million restructuring charge, which was at the lower end of the $22 to $28 million we indicated in late March, given that we were able to reallocate certain employees to other critical positions within the company. We anticipate the final part of this restructuring action, approximately $2 million, to occur in the second quarter. Now turning to our 2023 first quarter financial results. We produced 2,314 vehicles, up 225% year over year, and delivered 1,406 vehicles, up approximately 291% year over year, making Q1 2023 our second highest performing quarter in terms of production and delivery volume. though its performance was less than Q4 2022. As we guided last quarter, we expected Q1 to be down significantly versus Q4 2022, while we work to drive up qualified awareness of our world-class products and also work to unlock production of Stealth, the European, and the Middle East variants. As Peter mentioned, we've now resolved some of those gating items and are focused on ramping these three areas further in Q2. For Q1, we recorded revenue of $149.4 million, which represented a year-over-year increase of 159%. Cost of revenue was $500.5 million for the first quarter. Our gross margin was down on a quarter-over-quarter basis. This reduction was driven by lower volumes, which we signaled would be down in our Q4 earnings call in February. As part of that $500.5 million in cost of revenue, we recorded impairment charges of approximately $227 million in Q1 related to lower of cost or net realizable value, which we also refer to as LCNRV, obsolescence, and losses from firm purchase commitments. Now, moving to operating expenses. R&D expense totaled approximately $229.8 million, up 3.8% sequentially, due in part to Gravity testing and tooling. Peter spoke about Gravity, and we're very excited that road testing has already begun. This increase was partially offset by the execution of cost initiatives to reduce outside services as well as freight. SG&A expense was approximately $168.8 million, down 1.2% sequentially. The sequential decrease was primarily due to lower base stock compensation and IT expenses. While we are intently focused on optimizing costs, which I will talk about in a moment, it's equally important to note that we are continuing to invest behind our strategic and growth priorities, including sales and service, customer care, and the build-out of international offices and infrastructure. To that end, in the first quarter, we're excited to have opened 5 new studios and service centers. 3 are international sites, with 1 each in Montreal, Toronto, and Oslo, Norway, and 2 are in the U.S., with 1 in the Washington, D.C. area and the second in the San Francisco Bay Area. This brought our total at the end of the quarter to 40. We'll continue to be strategic and judicious with our site expansion and are utilizing cost-effective pop-up studios with great effect to complement our studios for brand awareness. On the service side, we ended Q1 with 38 mobile vans in the fleet and 73 nationwide approved body shops to ensure high customer satisfaction as the fleet of Lucid vehicles continues to grow. Our stock-based compensation in the quarter was $55.3 million. We also recorded a non-cash expense of $40.8 million related to the change in fair value of our common stock warrant liability. As a reminder, this non-cash impact can be influenced quarter to quarter by a number of factors, with one of the larger factors being Lucid's share price at the end of the quarter. In Q1, we achieved an adjusted EBITDA loss of $643.9 million. Now moving to the balance sheet. We ended the quarter with just over $3.4 billion in cash equivalents, and investments, with total liquidity of approximately $4.1 billion. We're very proud of our ability to consistently sustain a strong balance sheet over time. We've been able to access a variety of funding options, from the $2 billion green convertible bond offering at the end of 2021 to the $1.5 billion ATM in private placement at the end of 2022, alongside government support in Saudi Arabia and the large $1 billion ABL facility we put in place with a world-class banking syndicate. We'll continue to take a holistic and opportunistic approach toward funding the business, and we continue to believe that we have access to various options in debt and equity markets, as well as access to low-cost government programs. Turning to inventory. Inventory increased sequentially due to the pace of our production volume ramp versus delivery in the quarter, raw materials associated with new vehicle variants that we are now producing, and a higher volume of in-transit inventory as we move the remainder of the components which are eligible for ocean transport to sea. Over the balance of the year, we expect a significant reduction in raw material days of inventory on hand as supply chain pressures ease somewhat. We obtain more predictability in the transportation channels, and we refine our inventory management processes and systems. Capital expenditures were $242 million in Q1. Now moving to the outlook. We are on track to produce over 10,000 vehicles in 2023, with company-wide initiatives ongoing that will enable Lucid to pivot to higher volumes as market conditions allow. While we typically don't provide delivery guidance, we wanted to provide some directional color to help you with your modeling. For Q2, we are targeting deliveries to be up sequentially. We now have Pures in all U.S. showrooms for test drives, and we have a broader set of buildable configurations available, though it is important to note that we are still scaling those programs, and we're continuing to work on our sales and qualified awareness initiatives. We expect that Q3 production and delivery numbers will ultimately be determined by how fast we are able to ramp the Pure buildable configurations. And as for Q4, we are expecting that to be our largest quarter of the year. While I would again caution that there are many controllable and uncontrollable variables that can affect gross margin, I want to provide some context on our expectation for the direction of gross margin this year. In the second quarter, we expect improvement on higher sequential volume. We also expect to realize improvements throughout the year as a result of our cost efficiency and cost optimization efforts. Specifically, our workforce restructuring in the first quarter is expected to result in annualized cost savings of approximately $91 million, geared towards cost of revenue, with the balance of the annual savings attributed to OpEx. You will start to see the full impact of this savings in Q2, less the approximately $2 million restructuring charge that we mentioned above, which will hit in Q2. Second, we've been working a number of bill of material cost reduction efforts. We're expecting to see a cost savings by the end of the year, not necessarily throughout the year, with more reductions already identified for 2024. Third, we have restructured a number of our freight contracts, and we believe that we'll continue to see improvements in this area over time. Lastly, we're working diligently to reduce the days outstanding of our raw material inventory. Over the past 18 months, we have held additional inventory due to concerns on part availability and logistics slowdowns, and in some cases, banking of parts due to tooling capacity planning. However, this excess inventory has significant storage costs, reduces our ability to benefit from commodity price reductions that are now occurring, and also increases risk for obsolescence as some parts expire or are updated due to engineering changes. We believe that there is significant savings as we unwind some of this excess inventory and simultaneously refine our tracking and inventory systems. These actions will both reduce our working capital and our cost of revenue. Other gross margin tailwinds include the opportunity from the Inflation Reduction Act, which we think could contribute as much as a couple $1,000s per vehicle, and the regulatory environment is also getting more stringent, and we see opportunity on the emission credit side around the world. Recall, we signed our first emission credit deal in Q4 of 2022. Regarding our liquidity position, we ended the quarter with approximately $4.1 billion in total liquidity, which we believe provides sufficient capital at least into the second quarter of 2024. Moving to CapEx, we expect capital expenditures for 2023 to be between $1.4 and $1.6 billion, reflecting some efficiencies which were identified over the last quarter and deferrals in our capital outlay. CapEx will support our continued growth objectives as we strategically invest in manufacturing capacity and capabilities, our retail studios and service center capabilities across the globe, and development of different products and technologies, and other areas supporting growth of Lucid's business. Phase 2 of the factory build-out in Arizona is progressing, and we believe will benefit from a number of cost efficiencies, including moving logistics more fully on site and later bringing stamping in-house. We're also looking at bringing Phase 2 online in stages on a shop-by-shop basis, which we expect will allow us to defer some capital expenditures and associated depreciation expense until 2024 without a delay in the estimated Gravity timing. With regard to our manufacturing progress in the Middle East, the first semi-knockdown, also referred to as SKD facility in Saudi Arabia, with capacity of up to 5,000 units, is nearly complete, and equipment and installation will begin next month. We had a ribbon cutting for our SKD building in Casa Grande, Arizona, trained up staff that came over from the Middle East, and we expect to be operational in Saudi Arabia in Q3. This is very exciting and exactly where we want to be. In closing, I want to express my gratitude to the entire Lucid team, as well as our investors, partners, suppliers, and customers. With your support and commitment, we are several steps closer to realizing an environmentally sustainable future. With that, let me turn it back to Maynard to get your question. Maynard.
Thanks, Sherry. We'll now start the Q&A portion of the call. We'll start by taking Q&A from our retail investors through the SAY platform, very important constituency of our shareholder base, followed by live analyst questions. So our first retail question is, Peter, you've said, I'd just like to underpromise and like to overdeliver. You promised 20,000 deliveries in 2022 and 49,000 in 2023. We got 4,000 in 22, and guidance is just 10 to 14 for 23. When will we see under-promising and over-delivering? It has been the complete opposite so far.
Thank you, Maynard. I'd just like to start by saying to everyone, I acknowledge and empathize with the frustration, and I take this very seriously. Under-promising and over-delivering isn't about setting low standards or being complacent. It's about being realistic and proactive, and then going above and beyond to try to exceed expectations. And we as a management team, we take this very, very seriously. Back in 21, hardly anyone could have foreseen the disruption to the logistics and supply chain that we saw in 2022 that affected the whole industry. It wasn't just Lucid. It was a bunch of other car companies, very established names, were affected the same way. I was part of a team that worked night and day in that factory to resolve issues throughout 22, and as a huge team effort, we did that. And now we're facing challenges in the market, macroeconomic effects, and high interest rates, which do impact. We've seen the withdrawal of the federal tax incentive at the end of 2022. And these are factors which are very difficult to predict. When we guide, we do so with absolute honesty and integrity to the very best that we are able to estimate. And I totally empathize with our shareholders who are here with us through the long run. But I nevertheless believe that this is a technology race, that the technology that we've developed is unique, it's hugely differentiating, it will enable us to push the price of cars down because we've got more efficiency, which means we can go further with less battery energy, which means we can go the same distance as anyone else with smaller batteries, and batteries are the high cost item, which gives us an advantage in terms of potential gross margin. And I believe this will come to bear in the future. And we've also got compelling products coming. We've got Sapphire, which is going to be a halo product for the brand and help grow brand awareness. As we know that is a limiting factor right now. And then we've got the big one for production coming next year and on track, the Gravity, which I think is going to be a seminal product. So I temper this with unerring optimism for the future for Lucid.
Thanks, Peter. The second question is, would you consider launching the Gravity with a more price-accessible trims first to attract more buyers considering the current economy conditions?
Yeah, firstly, I would say that from a principal perspective and given where we are in the life cycle maturity of our company, we do think it's important to balance between volume and price and not to optimize one to the detriment of the other. Your question is timely because we have been studying this topic, looking at launch cadence, the time between launches, and the price elasticity curves and where the intersection of those end up optimizing for the company. It's still a little bit early for us to comment on our intended approach, but what I can say is that we've already sourced about 80% of the components on the Gravity. It's going really well, and we've been able to stay within our cost targets, which will ultimately give us maximum flexibility to react to dynamic market conditions over time. We're also taking lessons learned from the Air and looking how we shrink the amount of time between trim launches, hence getting all buildable configurations into all regions out to the public faster. And finally, we know it's important that customers are aware of the full price spectrum for the vehicle. We found that a lot of people simply don't know that we offer, in the case of an Air, a vehicle with a starting price of $87,000, as Peter mentioned a few moments ago, and hence awareness is something that we continue to focus on. So we'll keep you posted as we can share more, perhaps at the Gravity unveil later this year and in 2024 as we approach start of production.
Thanks. Tawanda, can we turn it over to phone questions, please?
Sure. Ladies and gentlemen, as a reminder to ask the question, please press star 11 on your telephone and wait for your name to be announced. To withdraw your question, please press star 11 again. Please stand by for our first question. Our first question comes from the line of Chris Pierce with Needham & Company. Your line is open.
Hey, good afternoon. Just a clarification. Did I hear you right that test drives are up 2x in 1Q23 versus the fourth quarter of last year? And if that is the case, I was just curious what was driving that, given the Dream Ahead tour launched in the second quarter, I believe.
That is correct. It's been a whole holistic series of activities that we've initiated, which collectively will form the basis for our forthcoming marketing strategy. It's not just been the Dream Ahead tour. That's garnering a lot of test drives, but we've been much more proactive, both at studio level through initiatives that we've undertaken from headquarters here to get more people in the car. People are blown away by the sportiness, the driver engagement, the refinement, the comfort of driving a Lucid Air. People who have never driven EVs before are attracted to this. So it's all about getting people behind the wheel to experience. Very few people will actually buy a car without experiencing a test drive. So I see this as a conduit, a sort of gateway to a future purchase and ownership experience.
Okay, and then just lastly for me, with the cars available on the website right now, cars you have in inventory, is there something you're doing to kind of that coincides with the test drives or the Dream Ahead to kind of work through that inventory, or is it just about whatever specifications or configurations a customer wants, you'll build that, based on whatever they order? I just kind of want to get a sense of, I know you're not preferencing time or price, but how you're kind of thinking about, those two dynamics.
Well, we're reconfiguring the website to make the customer experience more seamless, more straightforward. We're showing the cars that we have currently available that can be spec'd on that website. And of course, we're building to order. We've recently introduced the stealth, the dark side look of the Lucid Air, and that's really attracting a very different audience. There's a very different vibe, a more youthful appearance to that car, and it's a very handsome manifestation of the range. So we're doing all those things. We've got increasing volumes of touring out there. We've got tourings in the studio to experience, and test drives are undergoing. And of course, we're bringing more and more affordable versions of Air Pure, the Air Pure coming out. And later this year, we'll be bringing the rear-wheel drive variant of the Air Pure out. Remember that although many people believe that a Lucid Air is a $200,000 car, it actually starts at $87,400, and we need to really dispel this myth.
Thank you.
Who the hell thinks it's a $200,000 car?
Please stand by for our next question.
Anybody? Anybody think that?
Our next question comes from the line of John Murphy with Bank of America. Your line is open.
I don't know who he's
asking. Good afternoon, guys.
To.
Peter, in your comments, it sounded like you were alluding to potentially licensing or selling the powertrain technology, and it sounded like that was actually, pretty far along potentially with some customers. I'm just curious if you can comment on that or give us any other color as to what those comments meant.
No, John, I'm not in a position to disclose anything tangible at this juncture, as I said earlier. But we continue to receive incoming interest, and I think there's a growing awareness that we have something very, very special here in terms of performance and efficiency. And if you can have something more efficient, you carry less batteries, so you're burdened with less battery weight, and this makes the car really more agile and more sporty and more a driver-focused experience. So the technology we have today is eminently suitable for higher performance vehicles with our drive units of 600 to 670 horsepower capability. When we develop lower power units, more affordable units for a mid-sized platform in a few years' time, it's then that technology would be, more appropriate for more mainstream manufacturers. We've not proactively gone out to seek any engagement in this arena, but we've had multiple OEMs come speak to us, and we are in dialogue with several right now. And that's all I really can disclose at this juncture.
Okay, and then Sherry, maybe just two quick financials questions for you. The $411 million of finished goods inventory would indicate there's almost 4,000 units, in stock. Is that, about right, or is there something else in that finished goods inventory that would be considered that wouldn't be a completed vehicle?
Yeah, that is a little bit misleading, so I'm glad you asked the question, John. The finished goods inventory has the inventory that is available for sale, but it also includes our test fleet vehicles, loaner vehicles that we have in order to give optimal customer care experiences, for the end customer, showroom cars as well. These are vehicles that ultimately, after a few thousand miles on them, or perhaps no miles on them in the case of showroom cars or media cars, that we will ultimately sell, but they're not available for sale today. So it's important to differentiate between available for sale today and finished good inventory that is being used for other customer-facing purposes.
Okay, and then just the other financial question. I mean, there's a lot going on right now, so I haven't had a chance to completely go through that S3. But it sure looks like a mixed shelf. I mean, is there the availability for you to raise material amounts of capital under that shelf that's been filed? Or I mean, I'm sorry, once again, I haven't gone through the details there, but it looks at first blush like there's a lot of room for you to raise capital.
Well, again, this is not a new issuance. This was really just a contractual obligation that was associated with this subscription agreement that we did with the PIF back in December of 2022.
Okay. Great. Thank you very much, guys.
Okay.
Thank you, John.
Thank you. Please stand by for our next question. Our next question comes from the line of Andrea Shepherd with Cantor Fitzgerald. Your line is open.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Congrats on the quarter, and thanks for taking our questions. Peter, I wanted to perhaps follow up from the one of the last questions in terms of the licensing. I realize you're not providing additional color on that. I'm seeing if maybe I can ask the question slightly differently. Given the slight reduction in the production guidance for this year and gross margins where they are, I guess, what is the reluctancy to introduce this as a new revenue stream? You have the proof of concept with the Formula E series. You've continue to talk about the technology and how superior it is relative to competitors. So I'm just trying to understand, why not introduce this sooner rather than later? Thank you.
There's no reluctance on our part. We're very open and engaged. We have to prioritize here. Last year, my laser focus was working crazy hours in the factory. That's what I was doing, crazy hours to resolve logistics and supply chain issues. My laser focus right now is amplifying for brand awareness and creating a cohesive strategy with Andrea to market this brand and make many more people aware that we've got the best car on the planet. Our tech roadmap, I believe, is extraordinary. We will be launching progressively more affordable versions of our tech, which would be appropriate for OEs in different parts, strata of the market. So there's nothing tangible to announce right now. We are in dialogue with third parties, and I will make an appropriate announcement should that bear fruit. But there's no reluctance on our part. We're open and receptive, but I really have to focus on our products right now rather than proactively chasing licensing.
Got it. Okay, understood. Thanks, Peter. And maybe as a quick follow-up, was wondering if you can perhaps just give us any color on the deliveries starting to Saudi Arabia, as part of the major agreements. There was a brief comment there from Sherry at the end. Sorry if I missed it. Just wondering maybe you can elaborate a bit further, just in terms of how you see those progressing. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, so I think you're referring to the Ministry of Finance agreement that we have, in which they have committed up to 50,000, maybe up to a total, with the option for another 50,000, up to a total of 100,000 units over the next 10 years. We are progressing those conversations. We are in active dialogues. We're in the process of building out the specs for the first vehicles that they want to receive later this year. So that is actively ongoing.
Okay, thanks, guys. Congrats again. I'll pass it on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Please stand by for our next question. Our next question comes from the line of Stephen Fox with Fox Advisory. The line is open.
Hi, good afternoon. Two questions, if I could. First of all, the change in guidance in terms of going from 10 to 14,000 to 10,000. How much of that would you say is related to just some concerns on the macro or your ability to build brand versus just factory production issues? Any details you can provide on that, and then I have a follow-up.
Yeah, I think it's important, as we take a very responsible perspective of this, that we match the cars that we build, the production volumes, with the cars that we deliver, and that's the balancing act. Certainly we believe that the macroeconomics are playing a part in the deliveries right now. We also believe that the interest rates play a part, even for a high-end product. Even in this part of the market, interest rates do provide a headwind. But we've got initiatives within the company to turn the faucets on to up the volumes should those market conditions improve. And that we're ready to scale up pending that. And also, as we amplify brand awareness. And also, I come back to this misconception, which seems to be out there, that, yes, people believe it's a $200,000 car, and it's actually the entry-level price is $87,400. It's probably conceivable that people think of it as a $200,000 car because it's so amazing. But actually, it's much more attainable, and we need to spread that word as well.
Great, that's helpful. And then just in terms of, you mentioned maybe bringing phase 2 online in stages. Can you just talk to sort of the triggering point for that, and whether, I don't know whether if you focus on certain stages besides the CapEx efficiencies, it helps in any other ways, or in terms of how the vehicle production goes from a cost standpoint and your ability to react to changes in demand. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I think it's an important question. So we're in the process of adding significant, I think 2.85 million additional square feet in the Arizona Casa Grande facilities, and it's a number of our shops are being either expanded or new buildings. And what we're finding is that as we look at our production plans, that we have the ability to continue to eke out a bit more volume out of some of our existing machinery, tooling, equipment in the existing shops for a bit longer, which would allow us to take certain of the shops, like stamping, perhaps paint, and potentially delay the onboarding of those. Hence, you will delay the depreciation expense that accompanies that particular machinery, tooling, equipment, and facility to a little bit longer. The other thing we're doing is we're really carefully looking at all of the equipment that's going in each of these shops, and to the extent that there is volume equipment that could potentially be delayed, like the addition of additional robots, for instance, we're looking to put those in place and activate those as they're needed versus doing it all at one time. The other thing that's really unique about what we're doing in the General Assembly Hall is that we're going to have the ability to dial up the jobs per hour between a few different job per hour points. So it's not a unit step increase in the direct labor and bringing on the equipment, but instead we'll have the ability to dial that up gradually. And we're going to work to be really thoughtful about that so we can minimize depreciation expense and also the just efficiency of the workforce as well.
Great. That's all very helpful. Appreciate the answers. Thank you.
Thank you. Please stand by for our next question. Our next question comes from the line of Doug Dutton with Evercore. Your line is open.
Thank you. Hi, Peter, Sherry, and team. Looking at ASPs, they were about $106,000 per vehicle this quarter. So that either implies some heavy discounting, below MSRP or a lot of the pure trim. Can you maybe speak a little more to that and how we can think about that going forward?
Yeah, so I think that when you think about the mix as it starts to differ from 2022, you're starting to have more dominance in trims other than Grand Touring and Dream, right? So now you start having more prevalence of Touring. We're starting to get Pures in there. But as you go forward through the balance of this year, there is going to continue to be healthy mix because some of the higher trim levels are going to start going and are going to the Middle East and Europe. And so you're going to start to see the exposure of those products as higher end products in those regions while you simultaneously start to ramp Pure in the U.S. and then later send that overseas as you're exiting the year and into 2024. So you're going to continue to see this mix of trims. We did have a 7,500 kind of continuation program that lasted the first few months of the year, and that also is reflected in the revenue numbers that you do see.
Okay, and it's safe to say that $7,500 continuation program will come off going forward throughout 23.
It did come off, yes.
Yes, okay. And then just one quick modeling question for you, Sherry, on the LCNRV cadence. Is there any sort of guide on how we might see those charges hit in the remainder of this year and the next, just so that we can, lay it out cleanly in the model and understand, how those might affect the bottom line?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. The LCNRV charges have been really kind of between $180 million, $200-ish million, $220 million the last 3 quarters. So we've kind of seen it basically leveling off. We do expect to see an improvement of that over time because part of the charge is associated with the inventory we have on hand. Given my comments that we're looking to reduce the days outstanding of inventory on hand and not bringing fresh inventory in terms of raw material, and also work in process, finished goods, we would expect that to start to taper down. So as you're looking forward this year, we are expecting some reduction in that over time. The other thing that we have had in some impairments there is we had mentioned some obsolescence, we had mentioned some scrap. I had mentioned the fact that we have some different activities ongoing to really address that in a more proactive way. And that's partly us improving our systems. It's partly us not having to hold as much inventory on a precautionary basis because we're not experiencing the same supply chain issues and the same COVID issues that we had in the past. So bringing down that inventory, making sure it's more current inventory will also improve the situation throughout the year.
Understood. Thank you for the detailed answer.
Of course.
Thank you. Please stand by for our next question. Our next question comes from the line of Tobias Beith with Redburn. Your line is open.
Hi, thanks for taking my question. If we exclude the non-cash inventory write-down charge, your COGS per unit only improved by about 8% versus the fourth quarter of 2022, which likely reflects the rotation towards the lower content Pure and Touring variants, but also some of the discounts that you just mentioned. Are you able to provide some data points for analysts and investors on the work that's being done internally to remove the costs from the vehicle?
Yeah, absolutely. I mentioned a few of them in my prepared remarks, but let me provide some additional context. So some of the work that's being done is on bill of material cost down. Now, they have two different flavors. One part is commercial agreements that we have with our suppliers in improving piece price costs. Some of that happens, as you're negotiating additional volume with them on new programs, they become more open to negotiating down piece price on current programs. So that's part of the effect. The other effect is when we are doing engineering changes that have a corresponding cost increase as well. So BOM cost is certainly something that we are expecting to see throughout the year, though you have to remember when you've got inventory on hand and you're bringing new lower cost parts in, you got to go through that inventory first. That's why I guided earlier that you're going to start to see the impact of that more towards the end of the year and also as you get into 2024, because some of these items we know will actually take effect in 2024. Some of the other areas where we've been seeing some really good progress has been in freight, and that'll start to show up more in Q2 and Q3 as we've renegotiated some of our contracts there. And also we're seeing improvements in manufacturing overhead as well. And then as a result of the workforce reduction, there's improvements that you're going to start seeing. More of it's going to be in cost of revenues than in OpEx, and you're going to start seeing that in Q2. So these are different cost down initiatives that will start flowing through the gross margin. Then, of course, we talked about the greenhouse gas credits, the Inflation Reduction Act, some of those things, some of the trims that we have, those will start hitting a little bit later in the year is our expectation.
Okay, cool. Thank you. And I guess my second question is that the Lucid Air began production roughly 1 year after beta prototyping testing began. And clearly COVID impacted some of the start of production timeline. But shouldn't analysts and investors use the same timeline to conclude that the Gravity SUV begins production in roughly 9 to 12 months from now, given your announcement that this nameplate has just begun road testing?
All I can say is that we've got to get the product absolutely right. There is a gestation period between beta and start of production. There's also a nomenclature issue here. We're on target for start of production late 24 for the Gravity.
Okay, cool. Well, perhaps maybe could you outline exactly what needs to happen for between now and the start of production, maybe so that we can track it in real time? I don't know when you expect the vehicle to get homologated, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. Well, I mean, homologation comes relatively late because that has to be conducted to process and tooling represented levels of authenticity that represent production. So right now we're road testing the beta vehicles for the core attributes, structural integrity, drivability, suspension tuning. We're starting on some of the brake development, the traction control, the anti-lock braking systems, the core attributes of the vehicle. Then we will move to a phase of interior development. They won't have representative interiors at this stage. Later this year we'll move to betas with representative interiors. We can do all that development. Then the long lead tooling items are being kicked off, because some of the parts take over a year to tool, and then we'll go through a pre-production run through next spring, culminating in production late 2024, on track. And I believe it will be a seminal product. Gravity is on track. It's the big one. It's going to be a landmark. 7-seater, 3-row, super practical, super high performance, extraordinary range, extraordinary performance attributes.
Great. This has been super helpful. Thank you. I'll pass the line on.
Thank you. Please stand by for our next question. Our next question comes from the line of Ron Jewsikow with Guggenheim. Your line is open.
Good evening, and thanks for taking my questions. Peter, just wanted to get your thoughts on kind of competitive dynamics in the market right now. From our vantage point, it feels like a pretty challenging market for luxury electric vehicles, but wanted to get your view on if price cuts from one of your large domestic competitors on their luxury line of vehicles is having any impact on
Tesla.
On demand
I'm just going to say
vehicles.
Well, I think what you're referring to is perhaps a different part of the market. I believe that there is a challenge to the entire market right now because of macroeconomics and because of interest rates, which actually do affect this place of the market. We're seeing key competitors from Germany discounting their products very heavily. That's not just the U.S. manufacturer that you may be referencing. The Germans are heavily discounting their vehicles, and I think there are challenges right across the marketplace. I think what we need to do is just amplify awareness just how compelling our product is. We've got better range, we've got better interior comfort, we've got more legroom, we're faster charging, we're more efficient, we're higher technology. We've got a fundamentally superior driver engagement experience. I was taking some potential customers for a test drive just yesterday, and they were just blown away by the overall driving and riding experience. And we just need to get more people behind the wheel. That's what this is about. We don't have 100-year heritage or history. We don't have an existing customer base. We need to win new advocates, new customers.
That's super helpful, and it's good to hear you're out in the field kind of promoting the product.
I'm personally, most weekends I'm out meeting customers at events, and the grassroots evangelism is growing. And this doesn't happen overnight. This will take some time. We are planting acorns for a forest to come in the future. Make no mistake.
Private company
Makes
written
perfect
all
sense.
over it.
I guess just you gave the data points around
Too
test
elite,
drives
too
and the number of cities you're going to for the Dream Ahead tour. Is there anything you can provide on kind of the cadence for order trends since that started, or is it too early?
It's too early to do that, and there are so many factors that overlay. It's very dangerous. But what I would say is this, that we've more than doubled the number of test drives in the last quarter, and I believe that very few people would buy a car without test driving. I see that as a key stepping stone, a key conduit, a very relevant metric, and that is a step towards purchasing ownership. And then what we see is the best salespeople we've got are our customers that become advocates, and some of them even evangelize for us. And there's something very genuine about that.
Yeah, these test drives also give us personal touch points in order to enter into dialogue with the customers, better understanding their needs. And then it also, I would say that as we've stood up the Lucid Financial Services business in the U.S. and then growing that overseas, that's another touch point where we can gain intelligence on what the customer needs, the pricing that they're looking for, the interest rates that they're looking for, and all of these are going to be data points that we can use to refine offerings that are going to best meet the customer needs.
And we're streamlining the whole customer experience, making the website much more intelligible, more intuitive, more user-friendly, and streamlining the ordering process online.
That's super helpful. And just last quick question for me, kind of Gravity, any learnings from the Air launch process over the last 12 to 18 months that'll help inform the Gravity launch, call it 12 months from now?
Oh yes, of course. I mean, we want to continuously improve, and there's a continuous improvement and learning process which we take very seriously. The teams here, the engineering team in Gravity works very closely with production team, design for process, design for manufacture, and this is a really collaborative team sport which we take very seriously. I really believe Gravity is going to be a seminal product. I don't think there's going to be anything out there that's even close. It's taken all the technology that we've developed to date and more that we're going to throw at this car, because the problem with SUVs is getting range without an unduly large battery, which becomes super heavy, and then you lose payload capacity on the car. So this is a multi-dimensional, hugely technical challenge, and it's only now, I believe, that we're ready to really give it our best shot. Gravity is going to be huge for us. I'm very excited about it.
That's very helpful color. Thanks, Peter, Sherry, and team. I'll hop back in the queue.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, due to the interest of time, I would now like to turn the call back to Maynard for closing remarks.
This concludes Lucid's first quarter 2023 earnings conference call. Thank you all for joining us today, and you may now disconnect.
So there we go with Lucid's earnings. Well, where do we start on that? I'd like your thoughts a minute. Let me just get rid of that. We got the audio coming from several sources. Let me just close that out. There we go. Lucid. We're running a few polls tonight on our Twitter account. I'd like your thoughts on this. I'd love to be an investor in Lucid. The car is great, but I'm sorry. The CEO for me sounds like a salesman. People think the car is $200,000 car is the worst thing I've ever heard a CEO say. I mean, it's great to be passionate about your product. However, no one's buying any. It's a handful of cars on the perspective of what's being sold. Like Sensei made the point, and it just made me laugh when he said they've doubled their test drives, and we've gone from 5 to 10. This is not something you should be using. You know, you've got to look at you've got to base this on a successful company. Look at the way Tim Cook addresses an earnings call from Apple, and then you get or Google or Walmart, the monsters of the stock market, and you get an idea of how it should be done. Lucid, it's a great car, no question about it, but coming on and saying people think it's worth $200,000 is, in my book, the wrong approach. And it clearly, to me, looks like we're going in the direction of a private company. It looks to me that they've gone public to raise some funds, but ultimately the shareholder is not important. We're not selling cars. We're not achieving anything as promised. For me, this is a nightmare. However, it's a scalp trader's gamble. I think it will pop up and it'll have up and down days. And I know this because I am on the very cutting face of the comments of people's aggression and passion, uneducated passion towards Lucid. I get hundreds of comments a day. Most will never be seen by you because they are rude and offensive. I try to reply to everyone's comments, but the overwhelming majority of Lucid investors that I get on my channel in comments are ridiculous, not passionate with education, but just ranting and swearing and shouting at me because I'm saying these things about Lucid, and I get it every day. And that's not a good sign. I'm looking for investors with foresight and education, but an understanding of business, not just shouting and screaming. I think it's a great car company, but I think it's going to be a very, very niche, very, very private for a handful of very wealthy people. From the way they're talking, I don't even think they want it to be a car for the masses like Tesla. I don't even think that's on their radar. No matter how they're saying it, I think it's very much obviously coming across as a very, very niche product. So going back to our Twitter, go over there and have a look. We ran a few things here. Go and it's at Martyn Investor if you want to take part. At Martyn Investor is the name of my channel on Twitter. Got a few things here. Share your views. I will answer everyone's comments as long as it's not completely abusive and swearing and shouting like a lot of people do. If it's nice and polite, I'll reply to everyone's comments. So I predict Lucid will become a private company. I think that is obvious to me. So is it good? Is it a good investment? No. If you believe a company is going to go private, that's when it does, the shareholder gets nothing. It's like what's happening with Virgin Orbit. You'll be taken out. It'll come back as a new company, and you won't get anything out of it. So if you want to gamble in because you think people are going to get passionate tomorrow and start pumping it and doing all kinds of stuff on Reddit, then fine, jump on in and scalp trade it. But I've got better things to do with my time than that. I can make money on other things that pay me dividends and give me a much calmer ride. So there's that question. The other question I asked, what do you think? Peter Rawlinson just announced the car is worth, or people think the car is worth $200,000. I don't know who's making those statements. But anyway, what do you think? I nearly spat my coffee out when he said that. That's why I used one of my NFTs. And then moving on, Marlon, which car company is the best to invest in? We've had 95 votes now in just half an hour. That's a really good number for my channel. I've only been running on Twitter now for sort of 6 months. It's a new channel. 95 votes is pretty good. So there's a lot of passion behind EVs and this vote. Mullen is 55%, Tesla 29%, Arrival 3%. I just thought I'd throw that one in there. And Lucid is coming in at 11.6%. So Mullen is coming up very strong now. Do you think Peter Rawlinson do you have faith in Peter Rawlinson as a CEO? It's important. It's the direction of the company. The direction of the company, where it's going, is very, very important. And most importantly, of course, we're here to make money. We're not here to join fan clubs. At least I'm not. I'm not interested in joining anyone's fan club. I mean, I'm just interested in making money, right? Do you see the stock price rising tomorrow? 59% of you say it'll fall. Go and vote on these. If you retweet them, you can be in one of our giveaways, because some of these tweets are in our giveaway. So by simply tweeting and reposting, you are entering into our draw. Go to our giveaway page and you can learn more about that. It is our best ever giveaway. We're giving away $125 in cash, and we're giving away 15 hours of one-on-one training with Ed Nevius, our scalp trader and chart reader. There's our best ever giveaway. Look at the opportunities you've got to share these tweets and so on and so forth, and you can just, by doing that, you can win $125 in cash. All right. Let's read some of these comments. Let's have a little look. True, but Tesla is open to share. Says the normal guy's perspective. Hoping for a buyout, says Malk UK. Let me just go back to the stock price just a minute. Mullen. Sorry, not Mullen, I beg your pardon. We're looking at Lucid, right? There we go. Let's have a look. Calls will print, I think you meant there. Very helpful paid actor. Very good. I'm just guessing. I'm not interested in Lucid. I'm just guessing. I'm just saying I'm not interested in Lucid. I know people that work and engineer in the car. I'm not a fan. Eric B, he said, if you drive it, you will forget how much you're paying for it. You've got to be pretty rich to not care that you're paying $85,000 for a car. And it doesn't even qualify for the rebate like Tesla and Mullen does. So I'm just saying, how much money have you got that you don't care once you've driven it? Okay, of course, there are multimillionaires who probably feel that way. I don't think anybody here does. Let's say you're very rich. Would you buy Lucid or Tesla plus a Porsche, for example, if you're very rich? Well, I'm not very rich, so I can't comment. Porsche, no contest. If you're rich, you're not going to Lucid. You're getting a Porsche Taycan Turbo S. It's a Porsche, bro. Hello, gods of the road, Porsche. I would lease a Lucid if I was rich, said Eric B. If you like tech and autopilot, then you get a Model S, Lambo or Vet. Lambo, says normal guy. I'm talking EVs now. Come on. Yes, we're talking EVs here. Nice, said Ed Nevius. Moonshot, the call sounded a bit all over the place. It did. I think they've lost direction. It's not an investment for me. It's a scalp gambling. If you want to throw $100 at it now, because tomorrow you think it might go up 4% and you make $4, crack on. Martin, take care. Thank you so much indeed. I'll be a third or fourth toy for the rich behind the Bentley and the Porsche. Cybertruck took 10 years. Gravity starting next year. And Elon fanboys are mad, says Shan. That's correct. That is true. What is 100,000 for a Lucid? $85,000 is a Lucid. Yeah. There you go. What do you think? All right, that's it. We've covered everyone's comments. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. Let me just go to this screen for just a moment as we watch the stock price. Let me check how many are with me. Thank you very much indeed. We got 36 still watching, which is very kind of you. Smash the like button. It really, really helps the channel if you do. I go live up to 10 hours a day. My aim is to be the most honest, real channel on YouTube. Smash the like button. Also, if you're interested, yesterday I had a big part to play in the coronation. There's my music channel. I had 11 hours of a coronation concert. I've had a few viral videos. Go and check it out on the music channel if you're interested. I'm actually the world piano man. I don't know if you knew that. There we go. There's my music channel. I've got videos here with me with Elton John and Paul McCartney and all sorts of stuff. Go and check it all out and you might enjoy some of my music. Let's go back to this a minute. Let me check how many people tonight joined in on Rumble. We had a good number of you joining in on Rumble. Thank you so much. It's our brand new channel. If you've not yet checked out Rumble, here is my live feed right now. If you want to just quickly jump in the last 10 seconds and like it. I'm trying to get to 100 followers, and Rumble is really good for me, actually. It really is helping my channel. I've only been there a few days and we're up to 66 followers already, so that's really great. That's running on Rumble right now. Very good. All right, there we go. That's the end. Just got here. Is it bad? Yes, it wasn't very good. Nitz Farrell, you might want to rewind it. Did you see the new Tesla Lithium unveiling? No, I didn't. I've been online all day. I missed that. Anyway, it's time for me to go. This earnings call will be available very, very shortly as an edited version. Once I get to edit it and post it, that is. And I look forward to seeing you all in the morning. Now, tomorrow is a big day. Tomorrow, of course, is a big day. Why? Why is tomorrow a big day? What's going on tomorrow, I hear you say. I don't actually hear you say because I can't really hear you. But anyway, tomorrow, this is what's happening, of course, on the channel. We've got the opening bell in the morning, the closing bell in the afternoon. Then we've got Virgin Galactic in the evening. Virgin Galactic with the rocket concert as well. Then we have Robin Hood after the opening and closing bell coming up on the 10th of May. And then what do we have? IonQ earnings. You know, the list just keeps on going, right? No one goes live more than me. I'm trying to grow the most honest, real channel on YouTube. Thank you for taking part in all the polls. There we go. The polls are just coming to an end now. It's just a 24-hour poll. You predict 60% say it will fall in the morning. 68% of you say no. You have no faith in Peter Rawlinson. It's a shame to hear this, but it's just business, right? Which car company is the best to invest in? Mullen, 56%. Lucid now 100 votes. 100 votes. Can you believe it? 11% just for Lucid. There we go. And what do you think about this? I've had a couple of comments. I will reply to all of those comments about that statement he made. What do you think? All right, join me over there on Twitter. That's it for me. Thank you very much indeed. We're out of here. Let me just share my overall position because it's all about, at the end of the day, making money consistently. This is my portfolio up again today, 0.47. There you go. We're up 0.7, up on the week. There you go. Up on the week, up on the month. Why is my phone? My phone's gone to sleep. Look at that. My phone. I can't change my phone. Oh, there we go. My phone's gone to sleep. It's been going all day. It's had enough of this. I've never seen my phone go to sleep before. Anyway, consistently making money. I don't think it's... my Roth IRA is up today as well, just down slightly in the after hours. 54,119. My all-time high is 54,400. So we're doing well. Everything is consistently up. That's all it's about, really. Are you making money? Are you growing? Yes, we are. That's it from me. Thank you very much indeed. There's no point rolling the credits. We didn't get any super chats or anything tonight, so no one's nice to me tonight. No one loved the show. 10 hours of service a day. I didn't even get $1 super chat. Can you believe it? That's all right. Don't worry about me. Thank you very much indeed. That's it from me. So I will see you all back in the morning. Have a wonderful evening wherever you are around the world. Let me just have a quick look. Is anybody still tuned in at the very, very end? Because you never know. Sometimes there's a little bit of a surprise at the end. How many have I got watching me right now? There's 32 still watching me. That's nice of you. Is there 32? Yep, there's 32 watching, 30 likes, 100% likes, near enough. And 18 watching over there on Mullen tonight. Thank you so much indeed. I've got 66 followers now. It would be very nice if you could follow me. Now, if you want to check out my other channel, it's Martyn Lucas on Rumble. Yesterday, I did an 11-hour stream of the coronation concert, and it went viral on Twitter, and hundreds of thousands of shares and likes and comments. Really, really great. That's it from me. Thank you so much indeed. See you back in the morning. We've got the opening bell, the closing bell, Virgin Galactic earnings, and then the rock and roll rocket concert afterwards. I've got the Virgin Galactic song, of course. That's it. See you back in the morning. Have a wonderful evening. Until next time, take care of your money, take care of your crypto, take care of yourselves, and take care, most importantly, of each other. Love you all. See you back tomorrow for the greatest YouTube channel in the world. Bye-bye for now. Take care.